Warning: this is not intended to diagnose, treat, or prescribe any disease, disability, or disorder you might have. Please do two things before putting any of the information in this video to use. As this is not medical advice, it is only pure information, and I'm never going to claim I'm a doctor or claim to prescribe anything, as I am not about I try to be as little about quackery as possible. 1. Consult your healthcare professional and make sure you get both their consent and willingness to work with you. If you don't, then never go any further past this warning. 2. For those who listen and acquire their healthcare professional's consent and willingness to work with you, get allergy and sensitivity tested for any and all of the foods, substances, supplements, or extracts I may refer to. If you don't heed these warnings, follow these two pieces of medical advice, I will not be responsible for any of your actions. You have been thoroughly warned, and you have been advised. Don't try this shit at home. Take care. On to the video. Hey guys, there's the pan of water down there. I'm just going to use a knife and pick these babies up, pop them in there without getting my hands dirty. It's hot as shit in there. So. That one right there, I'm getting, these two pieces, I'm getting this pure meat. I put extra virgin olive oil to help, after patting them dry, to help the shit stick to them, instead of using water. It's also great for those who want to go low glycemic or reduce the glycemic impact of the resulting seasonings maybe, or those who just want to disperse some of the pig fat, more monounsaturated fatty acids, for instance. This would be a way to do it. Just using that extra virgin olive oil, or maybe even use extra virgin avocado oil if you want to use it. I wouldn't use it often. I'd only use it for ribs and smoking brisket and stuff. But, I'd limit my uses because avocado oil right now is kind of expensive. It ain't cheap. It ain't what you call cheap at all. It ain't none of that. Not even the word comes across my mind with that shit. You can reduce the price online, but that's still not called cheap in my eyes. Monounsaturated safflower oil, it's got vitamin E added to it, it's cheaper. Now get you a rubber spatula, rubber scraping spatula, not the kind that you flip burgers and other things with, but the kind that you use to scrape up, or use for dessert pan, baking and shit. Those babies. Use those to scrape those spatulas, those rubber spatulas. You get one of them. And what you do is you scrape the seasoning up and put it and pat it on the rest of these ribs. Seasoning, like the wet seasoning that's in the bottom of this pan. Show you that in just a moment. I have to put these ribs back on here fully. What you want? Ideally, you want to go do this the night before and let these babies marinate on there, if you will. All right. And then what you do? Once you've done that, you're gonna have to come out here and check, because when it's burned down to like smoldering coals, you can put them in a metal pan or something, let them cool, and you use that for charcoal source if you wanted. Oh, fuck off, bug. There we go. I'll be back in a moment. You scrape that up, you scrape that seasoning up, you put it on them. It's just olive oil with the seasoning and spices added to it. That's about all it is. And it's going to cook down with onto it. Ow. Fuck. Pop that shit on there. Here we go. So you see it makes a paste. It makes like a paste. You just put that on there and that's about it. And you come out here and check it. When it goes down to coals, you put some more on there, you know. And first 2 times you want, get some sugar maple wood and some, but also you soak them in bourbon, like Jack Daniels or straight bourbon, and get some Jack Daniels smoking chips. Do you get them bourbon or Jack Daniels, or even George Dickel whiskey, soaked pieces of sugar maple wood. Then you straight sugar maple wood after doing that the first 2 or 3 times. And you pour some of that bourbon that you soak them chips in with some water in that little pan like I did in this demonstration. That way you'll have some Jack Daniels sugar maple smoked ribs. Do also do that with smoked turkey, smoking some chicken, or any of that. Or you can also do it with brisket. I mean, it's great. It's a great concept to try. I've done it a couple times. People liked it. I didn't tell them until I asked them if they wanted to know. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm like, Jack Daniels, what you mean? So I told them that's a good trick. That's a good trick to do. That's a way of infusing the congeners and other things that give the liquor its color, infusing those congeners and those compounds into your food to give the flavor of the whiskey without actual alcohol in it. So as a result, you're actually you're using it for a more recreational purpose. It's more recreational use of liquor instead of getting shit-faced. That, my friends, that was just a piece of loose fat. So, okay, what about sustainable pork? Well, New York Times, I agree with some of the posts they make, but at the same time, they tried to say sustainable meat's a myth. And let me tell you something. One person replied to them and refuted the living shit out of them. Am I hating on New York Times? No, but that was not good. That made them look stupid. Hope they don't do that again. Hope they don't do that bullshit again, because as a result, they will get called out by someone who's willing to speak up. They will get called out. That you have to be careful what you say and actually fact check anything you possibly can before you talk shit. But anyways, what's sustainable pork? Well, pasture feeding them for one thing, pasture raising them. Pasturing them on occasion as an adjunct to, per se, feeding them like you normally would to reduce feeding costs. And then as a result, Then as a result, you have you have a means to reduce feeding costs if you use food scraps, or like if you make raw fermented, like make you some raw sauerkraut, for instance, or kimchi. They can eat that. You know, it's waste. You know, it's before it actually fully spoils. Plus, that puts good bacteria in their guts. And you give them occasional digestive enzymes, especially cellulase. That actually boosts, you know, digestion and hopefully reduces air gases they make it put for the air out in the air. You know, same if you did it with ruminants like cows, buffalo, or mountain bison, whatever you want to call them. Names for the same thing. The American animal, one of the healthiest meats around. Deer, same idea. But anyway, the point is, that's the kind of feeding you do. You pasture them and feed them your scraps that are not going to harm them, and you give them. And I gave you the sample with the sauerkraut there, you know, and shit like that. Fermented pickled vegetables that they can take. Make sure you read up what's toxic to them and what's non-toxic. And then the pasturing is just letting them get outside and letting them eat on grasses and leafy green plants and stuff out in the wild, as long as there ain't nothing that can harm them. What that'll do, and there was a study that used to be on a page talking about acorn finishing them. I was out to get to that. My own little new take on this idea. Point is, pasturing them around woodlots and stuff, making a deal with woodlots and letting them eat the pasture out in the woodlots, it helps woodlot regeneration and stuff while they get rid of invasive plants. Both are good. Plus, when you finish them, and if it's a woodlot that's full of oak trees, guess what? I got you another idea I'm going to give you. Finish them fuckers on, in other words, finishing is basically what you do, what normally people would do with corn to fatten them up. Give them a better taste before, you know, popping them off. You know, what you ought to do instead is finish them on chia seeds, acorns, and olive pulp. The olive pulp that's made by, you know, this results from pressing for olive oil, you know, that byproduct. Perfect for feeding them, perfect for antioxidant. What happens when you do this, what you're better off doing is feeding this olive pulp along with acorns and chia seed as the finishing stage instead of grains. Why? You ain't got to do as much to them to get rid of the lectins and stuff that they're going to get in their system. Two, pasture raising them and finishing them on this actually improves taste and makes healthier fatty acids and shit. Now, the only things I would ever consider adding as an adjunct to their feed when you're finishing them would be very small, occasional doses of bivalves, krill fish, or krill oil in bivalves. Very small dose. That's the very least. Next after those would be Gynostema, Nigella sativa, and curcuminoids. Very small amounts, only occasional doses. When you're pasture raising them, and then when you're actually fattening them, the finishing stage. So there's a couple ideas. It makes use of aquaponics farm krill oil, and also makes use of bivalve, farmed bivalves. Those are sustainably farmed bivalves. They get them out omega-3s in them. Those are only dosed and increase the antioxidant contents of the meat, like curcuminoid metabolites, glypinoside metabolites, SOD. But maybe metabolites of oleuropein. And if you add, but those are only in small doses, occasional dosage, without messing the taste of the meat up, because you could overdo those. Here's another thing. Where it's legal across the board, use marijuana waste or stem mass and scrap leaves and just marijuana scraps. They don't use leaves and stuff. They don't use for smoking cannabis or medical cannabis. And there you have that. You just use that stuff and that's the scraps, and they'll get 30 to 40, like 20 to 30 more pounds on them by the time you, and that gets rid of another waste. So there you have it. And that's sustainable pork. You get bacon. The bacon grease has got more. It's healthier as a result. When you cure the bacon, there's more antioxidants to this meat, and you use only a little. You only use a little bit each of the, like potassium nitrate, potassium nitrite, as part of the cure. And make it an ideal environment for Nitrosomonas, Nitrobacteria, Leuconostoc lactis, and probiotic bacteria and nitrogen metabolizing microbes such as those. What that'll do is that'll actually ferment I'll get rid of the nitrates and nitrites. It's part of the curing. So as a result, guess what? It's healthier bacon. And also add small amounts of antioxidants, small amounts to the curing agent, so it'll reduce carcinogens when you smoke them, and when you rinse it off and smoke the bacon out. And I bet you that'll make prosciutto a lot cheaper as well if you don't use it for the bacon that we use it for. And the bacon grease will be healthier as a result. Those who do omnivorous low carb diet will enjoy the shit out of this even more. And then you have other benefits that helps the environment. It helps get rid of waste. Makes pork cheaper. And it does all these other magnificent things. And if you do it just right, the pork will taste even better. And then the ribs, like in my recipe, are going to be even better in the long shot. Hope you enjoyed the two videos. I'll see you around. And take that into consideration. I will put link references in the description below. Some of these are from High Times magazine. Some of them are direct references that I got from them, and other sources. Sustainable pork, sustainable bacon. Fuck yes.